Shalom. And I first and foremost would like to, of course, show my continued appreciation for all of you who do participate in the lessons and questions and all things on the frequency. Your continued interest and the subject matters that we discuss shows that there is a powerful light being emanated amongst one another. And that light is opening up each eye that it reaches, of course, the eye being the mind. So with that, I will always say, continue your attempts diligently in the awakening and the reconstruction process of this consciousness that we're trying to achieve. Now, with this question, as you see along with it, I have entitled it Study Hall. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many actually study or did study in study hall. I know some use it for a social time to catch up on things about the day with your friends and what happened over the weekend and whatnot. But of course, according to the name, study hall is to be intended for some type of study. Now, with this study hall here, of course, we are promoting thought, but it is a breakaway from the rigors of what we normally discuss in the lessons and questions. This question actually is a question that was asked to me about 15 years ago by my cousin. And he asked me this, and when he did, it always stuck right in the front of my eye. And I never forgot it. And so periodically I would go out and just ask people this question. You know, people I just see in public, random people I don't even know. I would just bring up in conversation this question just to see what they have to say about it. Because according to what I've seen so far, and of course with everything you can view in life, there is no real right and wrong answer. It's just pretty much your view and how you present it. So I decided I wanted to present it to all of you to find out what you think about it and exactly what you would, how you would defend your view on it. The question is water wet? And I'll repeat that again, and I want you to think about that for a moment. Seems simple, but maybe not so simple. Is water wet? And let that process for a moment. Now, it may seem simple. And like I said, the overwhelming answer that I get is, of course, water is wet. I mean, what kind of question is that? But before you jump to that conclusion, I want you to think about it. Water makes things wet. When you throw a rock in water, the rock is wet. You spill water on your homework and your paper and the ink, everything is all wet. You jump in a pool, dog jumps in the water, hair gets wet. When you jump in the pool, your body gets wet, your shorts and shirt and everything gets wet. However, is water itself actually wet? See, now, if you think about that, that really is not as simple as it may sound. And people say, well, they'll say, well, if you put such and such in water, it'll show that water is wet. But if you think about that question in itself, or that statement in itself, is showing that whatever is being wet comes after the water. You have to put the rock in the water, throw it in the water to make it wet. You have to jump in the pool to get wet. But how can you prove that water itself is actually wet? And now they have chemicals and they have processes that they use to break up the surface molecules of water to give it more of a slippery texture, as they say, make the water wetter. Now, wetter would have to imply that it was wet in the first place. But is that actually the case? You see? So this question is actually a fun question for me because, it's an interesting thing to discuss with people because you can go around in circles with it forever. And I'm quite sure that some of you may have heard this question before. And if it's not a new question to you, you're not obligated to answer it. However, your participation is, of course, appreciated. And I look forward to it. But in my 15 years, like I said, it's about 15 years since he's asked me this. I've never heard it again. And when I present it to many people have not heard it themselves. So, as always, I look forward to your participation. I look forward to your views and your discussion. And we'll see what we can come up with on this in study hall. So with that said, Hutuapo.